Alright, let's talk about the Battle of Marathon. When it comes to the numbers of the combatants, we have to be a little careful here because the ancient sources often give wildly different numbers. For instance, Herodotus says that there were 200,000 Athenians, but that's almost certainly an exaggeration. And then other sources say that there were only like 9,000 Athenians. So what we regonna do is we regonna look at the range of numbers given by the ancient sources, and then we regonna try to pick the most reasonable ones and construct the most reasonable estimate for the size of the armies on each side. So starting with the Greek side, the Athenians were the main force. They were the ones who took the brunt of the attack, and they were also the ones who received the glory for winning the battle. So when it comes to their numbers, we actually have a pretty good range. According to Plutarch, there were around 10,000 Athenians present at Marathon, and that is corroborated by the number of their hoplites listed on the famous bronze plaque from the Athenian treasury at Delphi. The other Greeks present at the battle were the Plataeans. They were allied with the Athenians and they sent out about 1,000 men. So combined, you get around 11,000 Greeks. But then you also have to remember that the Greek force was made up of contingents from many different city-states. So the 10,000 Athenians and 1,000 Plataeans represent the minimum number of troops that the Athenians had. In reality, they probably had more troops than that. Now, the Greek force was also commanded by a board of 10 generals, but really what you had was a bunch of generals who were vying for command. So the real commander was whoever could get the other generals to agree to his plan, and initially that was hard to do. Most of the generals wanted to run away, but eventually the general Miltiades the Younger got them to agree to his plan to attack. And then ultimately, when it came time to making the final decision, the polemarch Callimachus was the one who broke the deadlock and voted in favor of attacking. Anyway, I just wanted to say that because I think it is cool that we know the name of the guy who cast the deciding vote in favor of attacking. Now, as for the Persians, the size of their army is a bit more difficult to pin down. We have a fairly detailed description of their army given by the Roman historian Plutarch, but he gives the size of their army as 70,000 men, and that just seems like too high a number. First of all, the Persians were camped at sea, so they would have had to transport those 70,000 men over 200 miles to Athens. And secondly, even if they had managed to pull that off, logistical issues would have made it impossible for an army of that size to maneuver and fight effectively.